Please also paint us a scenario of how land rights work in Afghanistan. And what's the one thing that US policymakers, for that matter, should have understood before going into Afghanistan or a place like that? Because right now, in retrospect, I think many of the policymakers and thought leaders in America are questioning the very fact of why it was necessary for America to intervene, to rather invade Afghanistan in the first place, and that was a horrendous decision.
I think some of the decisions about Afghanistan wasn't necessarily about the invasion of the country, but was with the state building strategy. And so there's a thought that the United States came in after 2001, they toppled the Taliban government, and they put a new government in place, and that should have been enough, end this. And at that point, the Taliban were pretty decimated. Now, some people are saying that the big mistake of that process was not including the Taliban in any discussions immediately after 9/11, that there was a desire. Now some are reporting that there was a desire by the Taliban to join negotiations, to be included in the government. But remember, after 9/11, the US was very badly wounded by this attack. And I think there was no real appetite on the part of American decision makers to include the Taliban in these discussions. President Karzai said he had asked the United States to do it, and he was rebuffed. Hard to say. I think at that point, it would have been very, very difficult to do. But the question is, why did things become worse? 2005, 2006, the insurgency against the Afghan government and against the United States really escalated. And what was it about the intervention that caused that to happen? What could have the United States done differently? And instead of sort of scaling back and negotiating with the Taliban at that time, the US doubled down into this counterinsurgency strategy, brought more than 100,000 troops to Afghanistan, spent billions, if not trillions of dollars on this war. More than 2,000 Americans were killed and so forth. So I think the question is not necessarily about was it right to intervene, but why did the US intervene the way that it did over such a long period of time? And frankly, without much of a strategy at all. So I think this is the big question, is 20 years. I've dealt with so many military leaders, military officers over the year who've asked me, what was during the period of the war is like, what is our strategy? Why are we here? Why are we fighting? Right. And if political leaders couldn't articulate this, how could military leaders understand the role and the mission? It was never really clear. It was really bogged down over time. And that's why I think that withdrawal at a certain point became the only option for the United States.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.